Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
Pratt? Well, I mean, first of all, I'm shocked, completely shocked by the level of ignorance, that is being displayed by some people in the political space. I mean, they are so ignorant, it's unbelievable. I mean, the level of ignorance is so disarming that sometimes you are tempted to think that maybe it's not ignorance. Sometimes you're actually tempted to think that maybe it's the lack of capacity to think. They make statements and you just simply wonder. And some of these people are the people we have used the taxpayers' money to build institutions for them to go and learn. So they've wasted the taxpayers' money. They've learned to become lawyers. They've learned to become economists. They've learned to become medical doctors and so on. But their faculty for thinking doesn't exist. We wasted our money educating them. I mean, complete waste of money educating this bunch of politicians. Unbelievable. You see, when we are discussing bail, I think the first issue which comes up is under what conditions are bail conditions imposed? Under what conditions? And it is clear. You see, a policeman who finished SHS and got recruited into the police service understands these things. But people who got masters in law, who went through Makwala and so on, cannot understand these things. Something must be wrong. Bail is imposed so that an accused person cannot abscond, and that in the event that the accused person absconds, the damage he has done can be repaired. Anybody going to challenge this? Master, are you going to challenge this? So, if the accusation against you is that you have stolen 2 billion Ghana cedis, what bail condition should be imposed on you?
1,000 cedis.
What bail condition? 200 cedis? Doesn't make sense. You understand? And in some circumstances, certain respectable people in the society and so on, used to be propertied people, are asked to stand surety so that just in case you run, they can be held responsible for the crimes that you have committed. And they can be held responsible for a number of reasons, and in a number of ways, all prescribed by the law. Now, when I read the press conference, the report of the press conference, addressed by the NPP General Secretary, I nearly cried. I mean, lawyer, General Secretary of a party which is supposed to be the second biggest party in the country. He talks about the government and talks about the judiciary as part of government. My goodness, where is that coming from? Why? We are operating with the principle of separation of powers, which clearly separates the powers of the executive from the legislature and also from the judiciary. Okay? Clear. But they don't see that. When the judiciary makes a decision, they call on government to reverse the decision of the judiciary. Which people are these? So what they're actually doing is that they are calling on the president to interfere with the judicial process. That's what they are doing. That President Mahama should call the judges and tell the judges what bail conditions they should impose. Is that what you're saying? Would that not be a violation of the Constitution? Would that not undermine the principle of the separation of powers? Where are you coming from? Where are you? Which kind of people are you? It's completely unbelievable. They say the executive should interfere in judicial, something which is judicial, purely judicial. They want the executive to interfere. And then they turn around and tell us that they believe in the rule of law. They want to protect the Constitution. How can you do all of these things together when they are contradictory? It's simply unbelievable. Now, you see, bail conditions for their education, bail conditions are not varied by the executives. First of all, they are not imposed by the executive, and they are not varied by the executive. So if you are dissatisfied with bail conditions, what you do first is that you go before the very judge who imposed the bail conditions and explain why those conditions are stringent and cannot be met. The judge, in his wisdom and accordance with law, may agree to vary the bail conditions either downwards or upwards. Because there have been instances where people have gone to court to ask for variation of bail conditions, and the courts have imposed higher bail conditions. Okay? Now, if you are not satisfied with the judge, you have a right of appeal. If it's the High Court, you can go to the Court of Appeal and argue that the bail conditions are punitive in nature, and therefore they need to be reversed. If you fail at the Court of Appeal, you can then go to the Supreme Court. If you fail in the first instance, you can go for a review. And even after review, if you are not satisfied, you can appeal to the president, who even has powers of clemency. This is the process. But you know why they are not going through this process? Because they know that if they go, it is possible that the bail conditions will be increased. That is why they are afraid. They can't use the process because they are afraid of the process. So what they want to do is to come to the public and throw dust into our eyes. I know the dust they're throwing into our eyes. They come and they say, look, there was an NPP man who was charged. And he was asked to post bail conditions of up to 800 million cedis. And then there's an NDC man, and they only posted bail conditions of 150,000.
That's politics.
So there's unfairness. So it is politics. My friend, don't push me. I'm trying to be very reasonable and moderate with my language. I mean, look, to use the most moderate of languages, this is pedestrian in the extreme. It is not about the party colors they are wearing. It's about the gravity of the offense. And it is about the likelihood of somebody running away from justice. Already, we are dealing with the matter of Mr. Kenuforiata. We haven't gotten anywhere. Indeed, most people who are angry with the Office of Special Prosecution are angry with the Office of Special Prosecution because they claim he didn't take measures which will stop him from escaping from this country. And then you come and we are talking like this. It's unbelievable. Completely unbelievable. Let us compare the two cases. Let us compare the two cases. And Mr. London was absolutely right when he said that in granting bail, one of the things that is looked at is the possibility of your escape from justice. One of the things. So your stature in society becomes an ingredient. your record, your history as a citizen becomes an ingredient. For example, if you've been convicted before, your bail conditions will go up. If you've never been convicted before, your bail conditions will be different. And so on. There are so many things. So, for example, if you are accused of stealing a goat, your bail condition will be commensurate with the value of the goat. If you are accused of stealing a Toyota Land Cruiser, your bail conditions will be commensurate with what you have stolen. So the goat thief and the Land Cruiser thief don't get the same bail conditions. You must understand that. So if the NDC man happens to be a goat thief and the NPP man happens to be a Land Cruiser thief, the bail conditions would necessarily be different. So you must understand that. So drop the party colors and look at the substance of the matter before us. Listen, I mean, I just don't know. Look, sometimes it's annoying. Sometimes it's so annoying. And you hold a press conference and you are blaming the president for a decision taken by the High Court, a High Court judge that for all probability you appointed. Can you believe this? A High Court judge that possibly your government appointed.
They appointed the judge.
Well, I don't know.
No, I'm telling
you. I don't know. But you appointed the High Court judge. And when he makes a decision, you blame somebody who had no hand in putting the High Court judge there. And who has no power to reverse judicial decisions. What is wrong with you? What is wrong? And how? What do you take the people of Ghana for? You think that the people of Ghana are just yo-yos? That you can hold press conferences and confuse the people of Ghana and so on? They are not. Indeed, what is happening is an indication that you cannot read the public mood. You are not able to read the public mood. Look, in 1979, when the so-called June 4 revolution happened, I was not in this country. As a matter of fact, I was in Philadelphia. I came back on June 11th. Some of the executions had already taken place. And I criticized the executions and said they were unfair, they were unjust, and so on. Do you know what I suffered then? The public, not the AFRC members, the public was angry with me. They wanted to eat me alive. Because the public wanted to see blood. The public was not interested in fairness. The public anger was that blood must flow. When people were being shot at the stakes, the soldiers who were doing the shooting were being cheered. You understand? And you must understand this public mood. Today, do you know what the public mood is? In spite of the bail conditions which have been imposed, in spite of investigations which are being carried out, the vast majority of people out there think that the Mahama government is treating you guys with kid gloves. If I like, tell me. The public is angry. Why? The Mahama administration, since he came into office, yesterday I checked, and I was told that the cedi was exchanging at 11 cedis to $1. They don't care.
Yes, sir.
That is not what they want. Inflation is down to 8%. They don't care. You understand? They have introduced free tertiary education for
the disabled.
Are they disabled?
Persons living disabled.
For less able people and so on. You understand? The public doesn't care. He's launching big push projects all over the place. They don't care. If you ask them, what do you want? They say, jail them. Jail the NPP people. Jail them. And on top of this, you come and hold such press conferences. You are not even grateful that government is holding on to the rails. It's not allowing, if the public were told to deal with you, do you know what will happen to you? So you can't even read the public mood. So instead of being grateful to a government which is taking things through the due process and so on, you are attacking that government. What's wrong with you? What do you want? Can't you see? Can't you hear? Can't you smell? Can't you see the public mood? Open radio in the morning. I listen to radio, a few radio stations. Open them in the morning. In the morning I listen to Radio Gold. I listen to Sena's program. Sena, tell them what your listeners tell you. Say Mahama has failed. Why has Mahama failed? He has not jailed the NPP leaders. Is it Mahama who is going to jail anybody? It is not Mahama. And on top of that, you have the effrontery to hold a press conference and to make these claims. What's wrong with you? And when you know that if you are dissatisfied with the processes, there are remedies. Go and apply those remedies and stop wasting our years and time with your useless press conferences. What did the press conference do? What did it do? It will only expose, just expose the fact that you are pedestrian and do not understand the issues you're talking about. That's the case. What is this? You want the public to have their way? Where would you be if the public should have their way? Unbelievable. And then they turn around and say, oh, something happened in Collins Dowda's constituency and so on. Are you not impressed? Are you not impressed that an allegation is made against a sitting member of parliament who comes from the ruling party, and in a matter of 2 days he's before court? Even before the investigations have been concluded, he's before court. And he goes home on bail, and you are not impressed. Did this happen in your time? Sitting member of parliament, member of a ruling party, an allegation is made against him, quickly, not the president. The Inspector General of Police orders the Criminal Investigations Department to deal with him, to investigate the matter. Even before investigations are completed, he is put before court on a provisional charge and has to go home on bail. And you say you are not impressed. What would impress you then? Should they have cut off his head? Should they have shot him? Meanwhile, I'm sitting here and have followed this case very closely. Where is the evidence so far that Collins Dada called the police and told them to return excavators and so on? There is no such evidence. I haven't heard it. The allegation is that he made a phone call. Who has heard the phone call? So is the word of those who claim that he spoke to them against him. None of us has any evidence. You understand? And yet, all of us are insisting that, look, there may be some truth in the allegation, and therefore investigate, and if he's found culpable, deal with him like you would deal with anybody else. You don't think that this is honorable? What do you want? What you don't want to be done to you, you want to be done to Collins Dowda. You want him convicted before investigation. You want him convicted before a trial. What's wrong with you people? What is this? Look, very soon, if you continue like this, the people of Ghana are going to get angrier than they are today. And if that should happen, all of us will be at risk. Because, Senna, I've seen it all. Fortunately, I am just a little older than some of you. And I've seen things that perhaps you haven't seen. I've seen soldiers strip mothers naked. Strip mothers naked. Whip their private parts until it bleeds to the applause of the public. I've seen it. I've seen it. Soldiers strip mothers, strip them naked and whip their private parts until they bleed. And the public is applauding. I've seen it. You understand? I have seen people lined up at the stake and shot, bullets, pam, shot, to the applause of the public. I've seen it before. I've seen periods where it was considered a crime to be speaking about the violation of democratic and human rights. You speak about violation of rights, you go to prison. You speak of violation of rights, you go to guard room and never come back home alive. I've seen all of this. Maybe some of you are too young, you didn't see it. Public anger is something which has to be managed in our collective interest. Because if you don't manage public anger and it spills over, the consequences can be disastrous for all of us, including me. And that is why all of us must urge a cautious management of the public anger so that it doesn't spill over, so that it is contained, and so on. It is our responsibility to ourselves, to our society, to do that. And stop this useless politicking, propaganda, like, how do they say it? I mean, what is wrong? Abba, why? Look, and when they talk, it's as if they left government 25 years ago. You left government 9 months ago. That is the truth. And today, all of these institutions that we are talking about, Office of Special Prosecutor, the Special Prosecutor, who appointed him? Was it me? Was it John Mahama? Was it Philip London? That is your own creation. You went to Parliament and bullied everybody to approve the establishment of the Office of Special Prosecution. And you appointed this Special Prosecutor. Today, even the Chief Justice, whose vetting you are opposed to, was appointed by you. It was President Kufuor who elevated him from the High Court to the Court of Appeal. Yeah. It was your own government which eventually made him a Justice of the Supreme Court. And you are not satisfied with that. What do you want? What do you want again? The judge that you yourself appointed, you don't even want him vetted in Parliament for some flimsy excuse and so on. What's wrong with you people? What's wrong with you? Sana, this is if you follow them, you get a heart attack. If you follow them, you will get a heart attack. Master, look.
The doctor is standing back.
The doctor is the one causing the heart attack. How can you rely on the doctor to save you from heart attack when he's the one who is causing the heart attack?
Oh, baby, you.
But he's a good doctor.
And Master,
he's a good doctor.
But when it comes to politics, he destroys his practice as a medical officer.
But okay,
Sana,
carry on.
Sana, listen to some of those people who fell victims to NPP administrations. Why? I was a member of the Free Chachuchiketa campaign. Should I recount what he went through? The machinations which eventually sent him to jail? And we have the effrontery today to be talking about the rule of law. What did you people say when Chachu nearly died in his own prison? And how did he nearly die in his own prison? Because in one instance, an additional judge or additional judges were appointed whose position on the matter was known beforehand. Was that justice? Was that justice? Why? Go and talk to Dr. Upuni about justice. Go and talk to Dr. Upuni about justice. Let him tell you his story. Let me tell you how he was arrested in Accra and driven to the Brown-Hafo region and what he suffered on the way to the Brown-Hafo region. Let him tell you that story. Go and talk. Well, you can't talk to him. He's dead now. He's dead now. You can't talk to him. You can't talk to Leokra. for Leocran to tell you what he went through after his government lost power. You can't talk to him now. So please, don't waste our years. I think that all of us want a situation in which all citizens will be treated equally. All of us want a situation in which accused persons will be treated as accused persons and not convicted persons. All of us want a situation in which those who are accused of crimes, whatever the crime is, will be given the opportunity to defend themselves to the fullest, their rights fully respected, and so on. All of us want a society built on the foundations of justice and fairness for all. All of us want a society in which your political color does not matter when it comes to the judicial process. That is what all of us want. Let us all focus on that and fight for that and stop this Jaguar Joker attitude to politics.
And thank you very much for concluding on that note, because you are one of those who help us a lot. I think this week I had an interview with Alaji Useléss where he was saying that he didn't see anything wrong with the steps taken by the special prosecutor so far in trying to get Mr. Kenofuyata into the country. My listeners who have always loved Alaji Useléss says I shouldn't call him into the show again. In fact, the thing is, sometimes when I try to explain that this is not how it's supposed to work, they have serious issues with me. So when I come on Saturdays and you make the same points, it helps my case. So please, thank you very much for helping us to hold the line.
You're saying that they should direct their anger from you too.
Oh no, you see, they like you very much. They like you more than they like me. So. Well, if you just join us, this is the Mother of All Talk Shows, Alaji and Alaji. And thank you very much for staying tuned. We are live from the studios of Pan-African Television. We're still having studio Kwesi Pratt, General Secretary of the Socialist Movement of Ghana. You just heard him, of course. Kojo Chombuafo, is CEO, Financial Intelligence Center. We also have Dr. Dixon Adumakukisi. As Kojo Chombuafo. Okay. Okay.
Nothing has changed.
But we need to announce your new...
No, I would rather be me.
Comrade.
Exactly. Just call me that.
And then sitting to my left is Philip Langdon.
The Cropon communist.
Because he's also been on this platform for so long. So long.
No matter what the designation, my position will never change.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
This program is solid gold. This program birthed all the other haram programs that you see around. So.
Alaji Hamza in Pig Farm is joining us. Says the rule of law under President Mahama is actually working. I'm happy to see that an allegation has been made against a member of parliament for the NDC, and quickly the CID moves in to invite him for questioning. And as we speak, he has been arraigned to face the law. This was something that never happened under President Nana Addo. My brother, where is the whereabouts of the Professor Frimpong Boateng report on Galamsey? The report was thrown into the gutters because it involves big men in the NPP party. Today, the same people are out there making noise. They should give us a break. We have a country to govern. That is Alaji in Pig Farm. There's this one from Togbe Kupe Damsa II, who says, according to the interpretation of the law delivered by Kwesi Pratt about the three arms of governance, the judiciary cannot stop the legislature from practicing their legitimacy, meaning a suit at the court to stop Parliament from vetting acting Chief Justice Bafo Boni cannot hold. It could be overruled. Thank you. Unfortunately, the parliamentarians themselves took themselves to court and submitted their decision to the courts. So now, Dennis Yakwete is also joining us. If there's any group of people at the moment who are bankrupt up there and yet forcing their bankruptcy on us, is the current crop of NPP. I just can't understand why this NPP fails to come to terms with the fact that 2025 is the era of new media powered by technology, unlike the early 90s, and that is not difficult today to reference things that happened in the past. And they behave as though Ghanaians cannot fact-check developments on the political landscape, as they want us to believe that their 8 years governor is already forgotten by the Ghanaians. So sad. Dennis Yakwete sent that. Mano James says the West Indian High Court should not grant the release of Honorable Mustafa Hamid his passport. He's talking about something else. Sending that from Kumasi. Thank you. Lloyd is also joining us. Says, Senator, please, where is the former president Nana Akufo-Addo? Why has he kept quiet since Wontumi was arrested? Because he went to Kali Bishop's conference in Koforidua and lied to them that Wontumi has not committed any offense. Oh, God save Ghana. Senator, what Uncle Kwesi is saying is true. I saw it at Tamale Central Market, where soldiers were beating Hajias naked in Tamale in 1979 and 1982, respectively. Nana Kwame sent that from Tamale. Thank you. Then there's also Ajo Nana who says, I've never seen a group of people who are unprincipled like the NPP. Thank you. So those are just some of the comments. In fact, there's a lot to go through, but I can only go through some, not everything. But thank you for sending in those comments anyway. We have to move on to the discussion of the 2020-2024 election violence report. Now, this is a quote from the Interior Minister who has been talking about that. He says the investigation established that 3 of the cases resulting in 4 deaths are traceable to the use of a firearm by armed police patrol teams. Military personnel also found to be responsible for 3 of the cases resulting in the death of 3 persons when they intervened to restore calm to chaotic crowds. And then he continued. The investigation further established that 4 of the cases which resulted in 5 deaths were recorded when party enthusiasts resorted to the use of a firearm against their opponents. The 2 other cases involve persons who were lynched during confrontations between supporters of the 2 major parties. In fact, he says some of the people are standing trial, others are on the run being sought after those who have been. The only thing that is outstanding is what happens to maybe people who are in uniform were found to be to a large extent responsible for the death of some of the lives we lost in the 2020-2024 elections. But one thing that he also announced is that they've asked that compensation be paid to the families of those who have been badly injured. Doc, do you still want to? Let me jump to Mr. Pratt.
Well, look, there's not much to say. I mean, I've seen victims of electoral violence, and I've said this over and over again. I went to the observance of the anniversary of what happened at Ayawaso West Wogon. And Senna, I saw people who would never be able to work again. I saw people who would never be able to walk again. I saw people with mutilated bodies and so on. You understand? And I saw people who have family, they have children, who have to be cared for and so on. Who for the only reason that they went to cast their ballots were fired at by a state-organized gang. State-organized, government-organized gang. And I sit back today, and sometimes I watch the videos of Ayawaso West Wogon. If you watch those videos, sometimes it looks like the stories we hear about Papa Dog and Baby Dog. You know, about the era of the Tonton Makuts and so on. And I wonder, and I've heard many other stories about those who were killed and so on. And I think that we have to do something about this situation. And one of the things that we can do about this situation is to re-establish the facts, to investigate these matters, and to make sure that the law takes its course. And that's why I was so very happy in the first instance when candidate Mahama promised that these matters will be investigated and that there will be action taken. You understand? That those responsible will be punished. Now, Sana, I was more than happy when the process of inquiry was established and it began to work. And I should have been even happier when the report of the inquiry was made public. Unfortunately, most unfortunately, the Minister for Interior misspoke. He misspoke and has led to all kinds of things. Can anybody deny the fact that death was recorded in elections 2020 and 2024 in that constituency? What is it, Kaswa? No, not Senya. Nobody can deny the fact. People died. That is one of the most volatile constituencies in our country. There was one instance when the sitting member of parliament actually admitted that she went to the polling station with a gun and she fired the gun. Her own admission, her own words. So you see, when the Minister of Interior spoke and gave the impression that nothing untoward happened in that constituency, it was exceedingly worrying. Because something happened. You understand? And because the Minister of Interior misspoke, it had led to all kinds of consequences. I mean, debates, arguments about what the facts are. The current sitting member of parliament has had to hold a press conference. The former sitting member of parliament has had to issue a statement claiming she's been vindicated. There was one instance when she was actually on a radio station praying to God to forgive those who accuse her. And so on. And it is difficult for me to tell what happened. What really happened? And what is really contained in the report of the inquiry? You know, so I'm dying to see a copy of the report of the inquiry. I'm sitting back and I'm saying, look, perhaps what the inquiry said was that some facts could not be established because witnesses refused to come forward and speak. That's fine, no problem. But to say that witnesses did not come forward to speak and therefore nothing happened, when we have dead bodies as evidence, it's a bit problematic. You know, it's quite problematic. So I want to understand what is contained in that report. I haven't read the report, which is a handicap for me. I haven't read the report at all. What I know is what the Minister of Interior said, the reaction of the former member of parliament, the reaction of the sitting member of parliament, and the reactions of the public. That's all I have. Okay. So I'm really, really hoping that in the days ahead, I'll be able to get a copy of the authentic report to read in order to understand all of these and to place them in proper perspective. But otherwise, I think the fact that it appears that the Minister of Interior misspoke has more or less devalued and otherwise something that we should all have cherished and praised. You understand? But whatever it is, the figures are staggering. The number of dead, the number of injured. If I remember correctly, 14 people had varying degrees of injuries. And about 5 or 4 people actually died as a result of election violence. You know, and I hear this, and I compare this to what happens in other countries. I feel embarrassed. Massa, You go to a country like Cuba, you know those who supervise elections. You won't find one gun at the polling station. School children actually supervise elections. And sometimes when you tell others, they say, oh, because there's no competition, it's a lie. Elections are contested vigorously, seriously. If you want to be a member of parliament in Cuba, you have to come up with your plan. You have to show what you're going to do in the community. You have to be discussing the health needs of the people and how you're going to meet them. You know, it's vigorous. And yet it is being managed, the polling station is managed by school children. You know, but there's something else. I told a friend of mine who was so surprised. In a place like Cuba, being a member of parliament is not a job. You understand? So Sana, you are the presenter of a morning show in Radio Gold. When you win elections as a member of parliament, you remain a presenter of the morning show in Radio Gold and take your pay as presenter of the morning show in Radio Gold. When there's a parliamentary session, they have parliamentary sessions. Radio Gold then releases you to go to parliament and serve your community. When you finish, you come back to Radio Gold and work. There's no ex gratia award. There's no Article 71 office holders, nothing. So if you're a teacher, you remain a teacher. If you're a university professor, you remain a university professor. No special privilege. And it works.
Thank you. On the matter of the debt, in fact, this is a quote from the minister. It says 6 each from the 2020 and the 2024 general elections, which collectively led to 15 deaths and 40 injured. Yes. Yes. So the numbers are quite staggering. And it says this incident spanned multiple regions, including Bono East, Greater Accra, Bono, Northern, Central, Savannah, and Ashanti. So it happened in all those places. Well, let me do a couple of your comments. I have some 5 minutes more to go. I was hoping Mr. Pratt would have made some comment on the Mamdani situation, conclude for us. Anyway, but this is Niyama who says, you see, if all of us agreed 100 that anybody who has stolen from Mother Ghana should be prosecuted and jailed immediately without delay, it means a lot. I tell you, there are some politicians in army uniform who are waiting to take advantage of corrupt civilian politicians to stage a coup. It's happened several times in the country. They did not need a gun, but the support of aggrieved people who have seen politicians looting money in dollars in clear daylight. Mr. Kwesi Pratt has said it all, but some of your panel don't understand where he was coming from. Ghanaians are forgotten so soon. Niyama sent that. And then there's one fear who says the state force to fight Galamsey should always supersede every force galvanized by any group of criminals, but no longer the kiss gloves with which Galamsey fight has enjoyed over the years. What are military officers and men doing at the various barracks when our very lives are being threatened by enemy of the state? Galamsey says, just deploy 50% of them with the right logistics and in 2 months, we are done with Galamsey. There's also this one from Kojo Oku who says, the NPP would always claim they are the fathers of democracy, but in actuality, they are the authors of political vindictiveness. I remember how Dr. Toniedu was slapped in traffic just after Akufo took over. Isaac sent that, thank you. Thank you very much. And there's Prince who sent us from Kwashibu.
Compared to this guy, other guys. President Akufo did nothing.
Prince of Kwashibu says, please tell Kojechi Mbuafu that Dr. Aduma Kise has already been vindicated at Anyaso Utom, and we are patiently waiting for him to return for the seat in 2028. He's such a fine and honest gentleman that our party cannot lose, so he shouldn't try to woo him to the NDC.
That's exactly what I do.
Dr. Aduma Kise will surely be back.
Did I hide it at all?
Because it's written in the start. I also condemn violence of any form, and what we witnessed in the last elections.
Who said he's going to NDC? You can get him.
Why do you have said?
We will take him.
Oh, the yellow people. Actually, it won't be such a bad idea.
Ntimafa from Gulf City says, how did the United Party share the positions among themselves? I know here of any elections. Now, remember that the arrangements currently are interim. They are yet to get their final certificates. Yes. So these executives are in place to do.
And who is asking that question?
I don't know why Ntifafa. Ntifafa had which position would he take?
Well, he can come and contest of the position. So the problem is interim.
It's interesting. That's Ntifafa's concern. Tori from Borga says, good morning. Please don't. People don't respect soldiers these days because the soldiers do not respect themselves. One of the days you do not see soldiers just moving around. You only see them when it's needed. What do we see now? Soldiers in uniform at the clubhouse and pubs dancing. How will others respect you? When they change, they will receive the respect they need. Tony sent that from Borga. Tony, is it Ajika Richard? Says, any current MP trying to win the fight against Galamsey will surely lose the election 2028. God himself will start fighting them. Ajika Richard sent that from Denu Afia Enigba. There's this one. It says, Senator, please ask the NPP man. There's only the NDC government who should do the right thing, but they can't start. Well, that's from him. There's also Kofi G in Ablekuma. Is it not painful that you wake up every day hearing accusations on Galamsey, who both past and present government agree on common sense in solving just one problem, which is affecting all of us? Corruption, Galamsey, job for the youth, rules, water, food, and others. Sends greetings to my former MP in the wrong party, Dr. Kwesi. I don't know why everybody has this impression that you are in the wrong party. Well, so those are some of the comments you're sharing with us this week.
I'm not PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.